Hello, welcome to another episode of MK2 Golf Stories. Here again with the GTI, and today we're going to look at adjusting the CO2. So let's do it. So adjusting the CO2 is something that is not really recommended. So why am I doing it? Well, I'm doing it because when I took the old girl for an MOT, it failed on the emissions, and it was producing something like, I think it was 3.5% exhaust gases with CO2. Anyway, they adjusted the CO2, got it down, and they took it down to 0.72, which is low, because these things should be set to run at 2%. So what's it like driving a car that's running at 0.7% CO2? It's pretty fucking nasty. It bogs down, it's unresponsive, and it backfires. So we've got to do something about it, and luckily for me, the internet is a great source of information, and we found this CO2 adjusting guide from Rubber Johnny, absolute legend, and we're going to follow this and see if we can sort it. So I've just taken it out for a run, got her nice and warm, and we're going to go through these steps and see how we do with it. So we'll go through this process step by step. First thing I need to check is if the ISV is working. Turn the ignition on to position 2 and it should buzz. This is the ISV. Let's click the mic up to ignition on, see if it buzzes. So I don't know if you can hear that, but I can definitely feel that buzzing. So that's a good point, that works. So make sure it's not clogged up with oil deposits. You've replaced or flush it out with carb cleaner. Well, I've done that in the previous video. You can see that here. Remove the brass air bleed screw and clean it. That's this thing here. That's been taken out when we took this off. It was cleaned and the seal was replaced. Clean out the airflow flap in here and clean out any oil and gunk. Well, again, that was done when we replaced all the gaskets and gave this a paint. So to achieve 2%, disconnect the famous red lead. That's this one here. Disconnect that. Pull off the breather hose and block the airbox. That's this one here. So pull this off, we need to block it up here. So we're taking this hose off, and we need to block up the airbox here. We need to find something to block it up with. Not sure what, but we'll find something. Now start the engine and the revs should plummet. If they don't, the idle valve is shagged and you're running off the idle bypass screw alone. Now with the engine running, turn the idle screw until you get to 950 RPM. Okay, let's see how she is. So these revs should be pretty low. Very low. Okay, if the idle wanders or is lumpy, engine visibly rocking, it is rocking and it is wandering a little bit, insert your long 3mm Allen key into the CO2 screw and turn it anti-clockwise to weaken, clockwise to strengthen. Well, mine's low, mine's 0.7, so it needs to be increased clockwise in 1/8 turn increments until the idle smooths out. Eventually the engine should settle to a nice steady idle. This will be 2% or very close. Switch off engine and reconnect everything. So be careful not to put any pressure on this when you turn it. Just turn it to increase the CO2 until we get a nice stable.
Depends on this, way you got to mix them both through.
Well, that's why take it off, get it to 9.5, 100 right. With that first, then you do this.
If you put it too far down, you'll starve it of fuel.
That seems better, doesn't it? Is
that for the air or for the fuel?
That's for the fuel. That seems better, doesn't it?
Yeah. That sounds good, that.
Right. So we think that sounds better. So we're going to turn it all off, connect everything up and see how it is. Take it for a quick drive. Move off. Connect this back up. Okay, so we connected up the red wire, put the hose back on. Let's give it a start and see how she sounds. It goes up to 8,000 revs. Oh. But before when I did that, it got to about 5 and it went, it sort of dropped.
Oh, right. Well, is that what you're testing?
Yeah.
It sounds good. It sounds healthy.
Yeah, it sounds much better, doesn't it? Mm. So I'm not sure if it's at 2%, but she's definitely running a lot better than she was, and it smells a lot less. So there we go. If you found this rough guide to adjusting the CO2 on your 16 valve MK2 Golf useful, please consider dropping a like, click on subscribe, and maybe even buy me a coffee. That'd be nice. See you in my next video. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.